Good evening and hello, welcome to Andy and Amanda. How are you tonight?
Yeah, good, good. And you, Colleen?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Just busy, just recording. I'm trying to do a recording, and whilst you were like trying to give me the code for the Zoom, I saw an email come through from a farm that's in the city, and I had emailed them a while back about an interview,
Oh
but
yeah, you told me about that before briefly on WhatsApp. So obviously, Colleen, people who don't know them, tell us people more about this. Then. I didn't know, I hadn't heard of it. So
yeah, it's a city farm. I think I mentioned it to you before, where I was saying that I was there, and it's like when I went back, we were talking about the countryside, and I was saying that I was born in the countryside.
yeah,
And when I went back, it was like going back in time to when I was a child, because that reminded me of being in the middle of nowhere, and you have to be there before 3 o'clock. Otherwise, if you go there after three, it may or may not open, depending on how the owner feels.
all
That's
right.
how it's like in the countryside.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
yeah,
different my life. Different my life, that's for sure. What do you think, Amanda?
Never lived in the countryside.
You've been through the countryside a lot, haven't you? Then?
Yeah, well, not noticed anything where you can buy anything.
As you say about it, she's used to
I
know
milked
how
the cow once. I milked the cow. That was interesting. I didn't like it.
Did the cow like you milking them?
Moo.
What is it? A moo! A moo! Well, that was it.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what Amanda thinks the countryside. So. Are you sure it wasn't a bull you were pulling?
No, it was at school. They got us to milk a cow. I didn't like it. It was all slimy and all.
When you actually sit there, can't take your hand up the bull, will you?
No, I didn't do that.
I remember I was telling you, Andy, that when you go to the bus stop, it's either the same thing. You miss the bus and you have to wait like 2 hours for the next one to come along.
Yeah, that happened to
So
me.
that's why
I've done that before now.
it's the worst thing ever, like you think you think you're on time, but when you get there, the time that whatever time you think doesn't coincide or correlate to the one that the driver has.
Yeah,
on the
yeah, I've
bus.
had that before. I didn't you know when we first started talking, right, many years ago. I toured Ireland with me. Oh God, a couple of bands ago I did. Well, we went down over towards the end of Skillen Way and then to Bantry, and I remember that because this mentioned one of you. They used to have one bus a day. They used to go
Yeah,
all the way around,
too.
Bantry and Skillen and right up to Waterford, as soon recall. And it was like I remember it because we used to annoy the bus drivers. We were going on from various place to place gigging, and they used to have a 6-piece band getting on this little mini bus at the side of our 4 benches, all of us piling on with guitars and keyboards. It's going to be easier doing that than getting a taxi. So yeah, but then the bus broke down one time, so we ended up waiting for ages. So yeah. Right, okay, Colleen, we've got a bit of announcements today. Amanda's got 2 bits of creative news today, and I've got 1.
I know what one is. I don't know what the other is.
What's launching tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, that's the one that I know.
And then what's the other thing you're doing? Are you doing something every month?
Oh, right, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
I've got my Ghost of Me book. I'm doing a podcast where every week I'm reading out a chapter of the book so people can listen to it and listen to the whole
that's good.
story, but
Yeah.
it's tuning every week. And then the other thing is the challenge I've set myself between this month and next year of January. I'm going to be publishing something every month. So that's going to be a
Wow.
good challenge to try and stick to.
Now, but you got to play to find it. It's not always just we need material, is it?
So it's not, no, well, it is new material, but it's not going to be novels. I've got lots of like projects where I've started maybe 1 or 2 things and then left it. So like small projects, like maybe poetry books or prose books and things like that. So they're not going to be like 300-page novels every month or anything like that.
As it could be, you probably. I know you've got a small poetry collection in mind. You've got a couple of short story / fiction things in mind as well, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah, I've got all sorts of stuff.
Do you want to tell Colleen about what the first one was for your poetry one?
It's going to be called Buy My Book, I Need Cats. And it's got nothing to do with cats. I just thought it was a good title.
What are you doing in the book, Amanda?
I've got like little illustrations of cats in between the poems, even though the poems are nothing to do with cats.
And she's
Yeah.
mad. She's mad clean. Okay. Do you want to know more about news cleaners? I've got
Yeah.
I've got an album coming out today actually on a Brighton record label, Slightly Off Kilter Records, under my name of Ocean in the Bottle, and it's called Dreaming of Life on Venus. So
Oh, nice.
now that one's that came out. I actually wrote this album, composed it last year, clean, and there was big news on that September, October last year, and everyone double check your news, just you'll find out about this, where the loads of scientists and astronomers actually thought they discovered the actual basics of life on Venus. And what in a much more, it's like the very beginnings of life that we had on Earth, where it all first came from. But it's been now been proven, unfortunately, it's not the case. But it was in the back of my head for about 2 months. That wasn't. I just ended up composing of where I imagined life would be on Venus with music. So it took about 2.5 months to compose it. But yeah, it was right.
Did you get it done?
Yeah, I got it done. Yes, the album's out. I'll send you the link. It's but I knew I was talking to a guy that I know who owns Slightly Off Kilter Records in Brighton, who's a pal of mine. I was telling him, he asked me about what projects I'm doing, and I told him. He said, "Oh, send me the demos over." So I sent him the demos over. He then asked for the full album, and he's going to release the demos and the full album together in one little package. So it's about 40 minutes of music.
Wow.
So
when does it come out?
Today, today. So on slightlyofkilter.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, congratulations then. So are you going to do a music? Is it a music album?
I couldn't hope to do a live gig in it, because it's totally improvised. It took a lot of mixing and cutting. But like I said, it's not something I could do live. It's too difficult, because you'll hear it. I'll send the link over to you, and everyone's hearing it. Get in touch with me. It's nice. It's been a good project to do it. Also, I enjoy doing it. So, what else you got coming up, Colleen? You got much on this week yourself? Have you?
Yes, I was saying that I had contacted the City Farm to do an interview, but because of the lockdown, I wasn't expecting to hear from them. But I got the newsletter to say that they're reopening, so I sent her back. I was in the middle of writing the email to her to request if she wanted to do an interview for next week, before the opening of the farm, so that it can generate a lot of interest in going back, because it's a farm that's based on donations. Without the donations, it will go down, which is a shame, because I think you're not from London and I was born in the countryside. I think it's really important to have this kind of thing in the city, where you can see animals.
You've got to have in the city, certainly, and stuff like that's important. But also, I'm guessing it's independent business we're talking about, Italy, as well as it.
Do you know what? I think it is, because they've always asked for donations, and if they don't have the donations, they will go, will not be able to carry on.
Yeah.
So, and they have
does sound like it, doesn't it? So yeah, it's, you think really monthly, it's the way business is going. We're not going to talk about, obviously, in general, but it's just been announced. A company before, Amanda, we're not going to name, a leading menswear company. That's all I'm going to say. What did you see before, Amanda? It took over by somebody, isn't it? 295 million or so, was it?
Yeah, and 2,500 jobs are going to be lost.
Yeah, because they've also gone online. So but that's why. But something like that shows you how starts changing big companies. But little companies like this were in lockdown, like you said, Eckley. I think it's vital we support them in any way we can, really.
That's why.
Keep them going, because you're going to need them when things go back to normal.
Exactly. That's why I was saying to you that I'm just in the middle of looking at this email, because I need to ask her if she wants to do the interview, so that it can generate more interest in what they're doing, because it is a really valuable and an asset in the city to have a animal farm. Farm of animals.
What do you think?
It's really good.
Yeah. Agree. It's awesome, Glenn. Yeah, I agree.
And also, it's in a little bit of land where it just looks like the countryside, where you just go in and you feel that you're not actually in London. I think people don't realise that in London there is actually vast expanses of land which you go through, and it can scare you, or it can go the other way, make you realise that we're part of the land. We're part of a whole structure that means that we're not the most important species on the planet.
Yeah. No, I get it completely. No, great. Well,
Because
yeah.
when you took that photo of the snow, I realised that you're actually in country land. There's not many there's not many shops around, or it just looks like beyond that picture there is just a vast expanse of land as well. So
Yeah,
you're used to seeing
where we are, we're right by the Pennine Hills, Mountain, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're quite close to the Pennine Hills. You can get to Pennine Hills where we are, probably 10, 15 minutes drive. We're probably more on the outskirts of
Which you're not
Manchester.
allowed to do.
Yeah, we catch that, Glenn. You're not allowed to do it at the moment. So, that said, but it's like we do like it's where you are. It's like because we're not into anywhere near central Manchester at all. It's like you're not anywhere near central London really, clean, are you? So.
No, well, city dwellers don't realise that there is more to a place than the buildings.
Yeah.
They don't realise that you could walk for miles on your own and see nobody, and that's quite scary to think of. But if you're brought up in that kind of environment, you don't think twice about it.
Yeah. No, great. I agree with you. I've brought up well. I'm a city lad, really, aren't you? But I've done a lot of travelling, so I've covered lots of countryside and I've worked in the countryside as well. And it is a very, very different way of life. And it's like
Very
in the city, you realise what can be there because there's a big. I'm not to Commander there yet. Actually, near where we are, there's a big farm near us. Actually, there is. So on the other side of Sainsbury's, also the big supermarket on this way. Well, not pub side the shop. Just say it's in the back of there. But like I said, there's a big farm around there. It goes on for acres. It does. And I've been up there once. You do this if you don't know about it, you wouldn't go there. That's why. So, but it's like I said, that's the problem when you live in the city. You're more focused on consumerism, and you ignore all the countryside bits sometimes, so without meaning to.
Yeah, that's right. And you should visit it just, from time to time, just to bring you back into the perspective of the planet. Because I think human beings, that's probably why we've got this kind of thing happening at the moment. We think we're so important. We don't realise that we're just a part of the land. We're part of the planet.
Yeah.
And if you go,
have you heard the theory? The Red Indians used to call this. Americans said we don't own the land. We just look after it. Have you ever heard that philosophy, man?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with it. It's just their way of thinking, and I think it's mankind themselves sometimes, and the pandemic. I think it's brought people in some ways more closer back to nature. It's all, I was doing a podcast just before Colleen, actually, and the lady raised a good point. We'll conclude it very quickly, actually, as well. Was she's found it's made people much more aware of the seasons, the change in the seasons, than we've ever had before in probably a couple of generations. So you think, we've all been locked down one way or another since 10 months, haven't we? And it's like seeing snow when you're at home like we have, and we've been pretty stuck in. We've had bits of it for a couple of weeks now, and it's been very different, Amanda, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
That's right. Have you had much storm your way, Colleen? Have you?
Just had a bit of snow last week. The one I was mentioning that it just snowed. It didn't have a massive amount where it was just noticeable, because I think it wasn't settled enough to turn into like sleet and snowy and slippery snow. It just came and went.
Yes, so, we've had a couple of them as well. I'm glad in some ways because I do generally like snow. I know you do as well. Oh, Colleen, before we go, I've got about a minute spare here. I want Amanda to tell you about what and we ended up both going and bought a big pair of wellies we have, and both because we've been going in the meadows and the forest in the back of us. Amanda, tell Colleen what our forest walk was like last Saturday.
It was like walking through a lake. It went 3/4 of the way up the wellies.
Yeah, or as I told us to Colleen, we walked for a couple of miles. It was like going an outdoor pursuit course. That's how bad it was in the forest where we were. It was like, and Amanda, I went for a big puddle of water, and it went right up to my knee. The wellies were just above my knee. Went right up there, and I had to stop you, Amanda. Didn't have at least say, no, you're not going to that one, Amanda.
Yeah.
We both
what were you doing?
To do it, and I was yelling, "Crocodile, watch out!"
Shark attack. Right, Colleen, we're about to hit 15 minutes here, so.
Ta-ra, folks. Enjoy the rest of the week. See you soon, then.
See you soon.